everyone, it's great to see you all. I'm Megan Hancock and I will be explaining how to create a landscape painting with watercolor. I have created many of this type of painting over the years, mainly because of school assignments, but also because they are relaxing to create. Overall, I will be explaining how to create the background, midground, and foreground of a landscape painting with watercolor. Now I will begin by explaining how to create the background of the landscape painting. You begin with the background of a landscape painting, or really any painting, just because you don't want to mess up any of the intricate details that are in the foreground if you were to paint the background last or at any other point in time in your painting process. The background usually consists of the sky or mountainscapes or forest and the sun or moon, depending on what time of day you want your painting to be. It will use blue tones, brown tones, gray tones, green tones, red and yellow tones. The yellow and red tones are for the sun. The green tones are for the trees. The gray and brown tones would be for the mountains. And the blue tones would be for the sky. For this part of your piece, you would want to use a larger brush just because it has a larger surface area because it is the background and you're not really worrying about any other part of your art piece at the moment because nothing else is painted yet. You also want to tape off the edges of your piece for a border, so that way you have clean cut lines around your painting. You also want to use a strip of tape across your painting for the horizon line, wherever you put it, 3/4 down, halfway down, or 3/4 up the painting. And before you remove this piece of tape for the horizon line, you want to be sure that your paint is dry. Otherwise, your paint may peel off or any horrible thing. Now I will move on to talking about the midground of your painting. The midground is just between the background and foreground, so it's a medium distance away from the viewer. It does not have more details than the foreground would, but it does have more details than the background, so it will use a bit more paint colors than your background did, depending on what you have in your midground. You will also be using a medium-sized brush and a smaller brush for this part of your painting, just for those more intricate and vivid details that you want to get in this part of your painting. Now I will be moving on to my foreground and telling you how to paint it. The foreground is the closest part to the viewer, and it will have the most intricate details out of the entire painting. So you want to pay extra careful attention to this part of the painting and use a smaller brush, and sometimes, depending on how close your closest part of your painting is, a medium brush. You'll be using a good amount of colors for this portion of your painting as well, just like the medium amount away from the viewer, the midground, just to create more details and more vivid colors. Now I will be wrapping things up. So in conclusion, you have learned about how to make a landscape painting in the last couple of minutes with the background, midground, and foreground of the landscape painting. The background painting consists of the sky, the mountainscape, and the sun and trees. The midground included the foliage or other less detailed than the foreground colors, and The foreground included the most intricate details of the entire painting. Now, thank you for your time. That is all.